Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi. Amma ba'du. I greet our listening audience. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our Mali Ramadan session with students. Everyone's invited, but it's directed towards the students specifically. Today we're going to look at the grammar. We've gone over 3 weeks. We've had 3 weeks of going over the sources. And in going over the sources, I have shown the Mali system. The Mali Quranic Arabic system that we use to learn, to read, and comprehend the Quran. That's the objective. Learn to read and comprehend the Quran for yourself. Learn to read it for yourself. And then apply it in your own environment without having to become someone else. This is the idea. This is the objective. If you're a teacher of Islam, if you're a teacher in a Muslim school, if you're a da'i, someone who preaches the religion, if you're an imam, someone who preaches and teaches the religion, it's incumbent that you learn how to read the Quran from the Arabic text. And that should be also for all Muslims. It's not strange to say everyone should be educated. That's not strange for the American. Somewhere else, it may sound strange. In America, to say everybody has to go to school is not a strange phenomenon in America. So shall it be for the Muslim world. All Muslims. The first command is read. That's for everyone. It's the individual. Read. Every individual should learn to read. Yes. That's the priority. Education is our priority. We go on and on. Muhammad the Prophet, he didn't have an elite group that he taught the Quran. He taught the Quran to everybody. He didn't have prerequisites. Before I teach you the Quran, I have to teach you this. Before I teach you the Quran, you got to learn how to speak. Before I teach you the Quran, you got to learn this. You got to learn that. He didn't have that. He taught the Quran to everybody. Yes. Therefore, this is the Mali system. We teach the Quran. Now, today let's look at the grammar. I'm not going to go over the sheets. We have 3 weeks. It's recorded and has been left different places, YouTube, Facebook, the NEEN network. The students have access to it for 3 weeks. I'm going to go through the sources this time. Maybe not take as much time. Go through the sources, show you the sources, how to use this, how the sources are being used, so forth and so on. So I may not take as much time as I've taken in the first 3 weeks. Okay, let us start. This is Abu Faris that we use in the class. I may look for another source because Abu Faris has made some changes that I'm not too particularly in love with, but we'll see. But a same type of format, where you have every word in the Quran and you have the grammar to every word. But there's no reason why you shouldn't learn how to read the Quran grammatically correct first. That's the first reading. Read it grammatically correct. What is it saying? What is it saying? Then what does it mean? What is it saying? Then what does it mean? Yes, we'll be starting a new class in the first week of May. I'll put the date out. To start in the Mali classes, you have to be able to read words. Read the Arabic words. We don't start with the alphabet. Abata. If someone is interested in having that kind of class from Mali, let me know. But there are some others who teach Abata. Start with them. After you learn to read the words, then come to Mali. They don't concentrate on the grammar like Mali does. So learn to read, then come to Mali. After you finish with Mali, go to another class. Or there's some other people teaching Arabic that I don't teach. So let's begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya ayyuha. Now, as I go, I point out the grammar. I point the grammar out. I'll show you the grammar. But like I said, I'm going to go a little faster as I go and make the comments. We're reading it grammatically correct first. Yeah. This yeah is on the 5 sheets. It's on the 5 sheets. It's a vocative or vocative particle. You're calling someone when you say yeah, yeah. You may hear the young people that say yo, yo, brother. This is yeah. Instead of yo, say yeah, yeah. You're calling someone. Now, who are you calling? You're calling Ayu. Ayu. Yeah, Ayu. And you may hear African Americans who are still speaking from the gut. You might hear almost a sound like that. Yeah, Ayu. We think they're saying, where are you? Yeah, Ayu. I don't know. So this is who you're calling. You're calling Ayu. So this is the monadi. It's called monadi down here. This is the one that's being called. Monadi. It's the passive. This is nida. This is the particle calling. This is the calling. This is the one being called. The caller. Who is the caller? You got the caller, you got the call, and you got the callee, the one receiving the call. So the caller is the Quran, the caller is Allah, because Allah is the one who's speaking in the Quran. It's Allah that's calling. Is it Muhammad calling? No, it's not Muhammad calling. Is it Jibril calling? No, it's not Jibril calling. It's Allah calling. Through Jibril, through Muhammad. That's the call. So now, we're always calling on Allah, and we want Allah to respond. Yes. We call Allah, we want a response. We're always calling on Allah. Should we call loud because he's far away? Or should we call quietly because he's so near? Tell my servants I am near. But now, let my servants hear my call. Do you hear Allah when he's calling you? You always want to know, do Allah hear you when you're calling him? And look for an answer, looking for a response. Do you ever respond to Allah when Allah calls you? When He says, "Yeah, you." That's Allah calling. Have. This have here is a particle of tanbih. Tanbih shows excitation. There's excitement in the voice. So Allah is calling, not just "yeah, you," not just "yeah." There is excitement in the voice. He's trying to get your attention. He wants your attention. Drop what you are doing. Give me your attention. Now, once he has your attention, well, let's see, before that. Now he says, Anasu. See, he's calling out. Yeah, you. Yeah, you have. He's calling out. Allah's calling, and there's excitement in the voice. Enough excitation that it gets your attention. Like we want someone's attention now, we put on the radio, we make a squelching sound. A squelching sound, and it will stop. What's that? The Quran says, Alif Lam Mim. Everybody says, what's that? What's that? Here Allah's calling with a squelching sound. You stop whatever you're doing, what's that? And who is he calling? You. He said, yeah, you. But who is you? Anas. So Anas is a substitute for you, grammatically speaking. He's at you, and then he's making it specific. Now I got everybody's attention. I'm calling Anas. Who is Anas? Anas is the people. All of mankind. Not the Muslim, not the believer, not the Christian, not the Jew. Anas. I'm talking to everybody. I want everybody's attention. This is how I'm looking at it grammatically. Then I'm seeing what it's saying grammatically. Now I'm talking about what it means. And I'm using my own environment that I'm in, that most of you, my listeners, I'm imagining that all of you are in the American environment. I'm not talking to the people throughout the world because I'm giving examples maybe they can identify with. So I'm talking in the environment that I'm in. So now, I have everybody, every person, everything, every object that I have created. I say, yeah, you. Now, I'm talking about Anas. You horses over there, relax. You rabbits, relax. The birds, all y'all relax. I'm talking to Anas. That's whose attention I want. The rest of you all can listen, but I'm talking to Anas. That's what I'm calling. Now that I have your attention, all of mankind, you've been calling on me on your hands and knees and begging and crying. Now hear my call. Now, once you say, yeah, you have, what comes after that, I'm going to say most of the time, is an instruction or a warning. That's what this is. Yeah, you had. This had is put on here to get your attention with excitation. And now what's going to come, now that I have your attention, there's going to be a warning or there's going to be a command, an instruction. So he says, Ittaku. Ittaku. This is the crux. The first key word is going to be the crux of the whole verse. If you read Quran, bil Quran, Quran by the Quran, it's going to be the crux. This is where the emphasis is. It's on ittaqu. You can read the Quran like this. You may have to think. It's about ittaqu. Now, noun or verb. This is the pattern. Noun or verb. It's a verb. How do I know it's a verb? I'm reflecting on the 5 sheets without pointing to them today. I know it's a verb because it ends in a waw aleph. I see the waw aleph. Watch your endings. When you're reading, watch the endings and then go back. Go to the endings, go back. Go to your endings, go back. Go to a word, go back. What affected that word? Go back. See what affected it. You read, you go back. It's like read, reflect. Go forward, go back. Go forward, go back. Go forward, go back. Yes. Now, it's a verb because of the waw aleph. When I see that waw aleph, the first thing I want to do is go back and see if there's a ya or a ta at the beginning. There's no ya or a ta of the present tense. If it was a ya or a ta of the present tense, then it would be either they masculine plural or you masculine plural. It would be subjunctive or adjective, because that's the only place in the present tense you have a waw aleph. Next, there's a waw aleph on they masculine plural past tense, and there's a waw aleph on you masculine plural command. Which one is it? It's not present tense now. Is it past tense? Would you say they did so and so? Or is it instruction, you do so and so? That's how you begin to read. Your mind, as you learn the sheets, as you keep reflecting back on the sheets. Notice I go back to the sheets. I go back to the sheets. I put the sheets in my mind. I memorize the sheets. I memorize them. I go to the sheets. Now, which one is it? Is it past tense? Is it present tense? I'll read it in the past tense. I'll read it. Is it past or command? I read it in the past. I read it in the command. If you're at the beginning, you can let the translation help you as to which one it is. So I could say they, and this word here is a little tricky because you really only have one letter here of the root. Well, you have 2, but it's a lot of changes this word goes through. I'm not going to go through all of it right now. So I could say they. I go down. What's the meaning of this word? Let me go down. It means careful. So they were careful. I then read the next word, see if it makes sense with it. Or I could say, be careful. And read the next word, see if it makes sense. They were careful or be careful. Okay, before I go to the next word, it could be either one. I'll keep it in my head. Now, let's say I don't know which one it is yet. I don't know if it's but I know which one it is because why? Because I already said he's trying to get your attention, and either he's going to give an instruction, a command, or he's going to give a warning. But yet and still, just showing you the process. Now, also, I'm going to give it to you. There's 2 tabs here. One tab is for the root, and one tab is for form 8. It was added. It was added to make it form 8. Now, form 8 says the action occurs from within. It's reflexive. On your sheet, you will see reflexive. Reflexive means the action occurs from within. So whatever this action is, it's occurring from within. It's not an action you see outside of you. It's an action that's occurring inside of you. There's a very good book to read that deals with this principle of reflection. Form 5 is reflexive. Form 8 is reflexive. Form 5 is reflexive with intensity. Form 8 is just reflexive without the intensity. And then there are other rules. Those are the basic rules. There's a book by Naeem Akbar. It's called The Community of Self. Nefs. The Community of Self. And he talks about this community, I'd say, of the self. The community of self is all of the citizens that live in the community. The community of self. There's these citizens that live there. All of the actions and occurrences of this whole community is within you, inside of you. It's a community of self. There's a community outside of you. There's a community inside of you. To help understand this idea of reflexive. It's a nice book to read, good book to read. So this tells me this action is occurring, but the action that's occurring outside of me, the only thing outside of me is the manifestation of what occurred inside of me. But it's not outside. We're talking about something inside. That's the crux. This is the crux of the verse. Now, what's occurring inside of me? Either I did it or I'm commanded to do it. Here he says careful. You could say careful. You could say conscious is an internal activity that occurs from within. You could say regardful, something that occurs from within. It's an action that occurs from within. And there's a citizen that's doing the action that's inside of me. Read the book. Something inside of me is the one who's doing the action of being careful. Who's doing it? Well, all the citizens doing it. So this occurs from within. Be careful, be regardful, be conscious, be cautious, be righteous. I'm looking at the Arabic word, and there are various translations of this word. Pick one. It's a very rich word, Arabic word. We don't have really a one particular English word that I know of, according to my vocabulary. I don't have a very large English vocabulary. But I can't see where we have one word that would justify the meaning of this word here in English. You can say be careful, but it's more than be careful. You see the English word careful, but it may be a little more than be careful. That's why we learn in Quranic Arabic, because there are ideas you can get from this. One word that you can't get when you read the word careful. When you read the word careful in English, in your word environment, when you read the word ittaqu, in this environment, you won't come away with the same picture. Here you'll come away with the picture, but then you have to express that picture. Because you don't have one English word to express that picture. This is the advantage of learning Quranic Arabic. You get ideas that you can't get from the English language. Yes. I say this often. You'll get a feeling from this. See, this, you say be careful. Yes, but just looking at this word, you have to know the meaning of this word to know that's it's internal, or could be external. But here, the formless word, you see it automatically. It's something that's occurring from within. You see that it's a command. You see that it's a command. You see that it occurs from within. You see all of that in the one word. So the feeling strikes you. When you see the word, you get the feeling, the emotion that the word is going to ignite in you. It comes right away. Learn the sheets. Once you learn the sheets, then after a while, your mind is going to pick it up. Your mind will see it. And everything will start occurring at once. This what this word will do to you. Now you want to transfer not only the meaning of this word, but the feeling, the emotion that this word carries. You want to put that into English, and you may not find one word that will do justice. And the person reads that word, and you look and say, no, you don't have it. I didn't communicate it right. Because you're not responding the way you should respond by how I tried to communicate this word to you, the meaning to you. Yes. Yes. So, itaku. Now, rabbakum. Rabba. You got rabba and you have kum. Kum is a pronoun attached to rabba. And we have said that if a pronoun is attached to a noun, then it's the second term possessive. If the pronoun is attached to the verb, it's the object of the verb. If a pronoun attached to a particle, it follows the rule of the particle. It becomes the noun of that particle. So this pronoun possesses the noun, your Lord, the Lord of you, your Lord. Yes. Now you can't put a kum on Allah, so you can't say your Allah. You can say your Lord, but you can't say your Allah. Now, and something else comes to mind. In the Quran, you don't have the word Arabu, the Lord. Lord is always in a possessive. It's in a possessive. It's not your Lord, the Lord. In the Bible, you will see Arab, the Lord. Arab, the Lord, but not in the Quran. Yes. I read the Bible, the New Testament, some of the Old Testament, but the New Testament I have read, and I read it in Arabic. When you read it in Arabic, it looks like it's translated, the Arabic is translated from the English. Instead of the Arabic being original and the English translated from the Arabic that I have seen of the Bible is translated from the English. That's what it looks like. But in translating it from the English, just a side information. In translating it from the English, it's the choice of words the translator, the author, is using. What choice of Arabic words did he use to express the Bible? And when you read the language of the Bible, not to put down the Bible or Christians or anything, it's not inspiring. It's not an inspiring, because it's not revelation. It's a translation, not revelation, translation. Not like this Arabic is. This is revelation. This is not translation. This is revelation. This English is translation. The English is translation. It's not revelation. This Arabic is revelation. It's not translation. The Bible, Arabic, is translation, not revelation. And I can say that because it doesn't have the inspiring nature that Quranic Arabic has. It doesn't have the same when you read it, the language. It's not inspiring like Quranic Arabic is inspiring. But yet, it's Arabic, it's in the Bible, and I notice that they'll say Arab, the Lord. But in Quran, I don't think there's the Lord. There's no Alif Lam on it. The Lord. It's always definite because it's attached to this ending possessive. It's the first term of possessive. Just a little information to think about. Yes. But I don't teach the Bible. I read it, but I don't teach it. No. Maybe one day a comparison, but that would be a lot of work information to do that. But one day, take one of the books and look at what they're saying and look at what the Quran says on the same topic. Then we could see where the Quran is advancing an idea, correcting an idea, clarifying an idea that came before. That's a work to be done. Sometimes man has read scripture before, and maybe due to language, maybe due to politics, maybe due to certain reasons, and they present it. This is God's word, and maybe through interpretation, maybe through translation, it was not errors was made in how in perception. I'm gonna put it that way. Put it in the best language. Errors in perception that Allah brings Quran and give a clearer perception. Now you don't have to become a Muslim, but many Christians and Jews read the Quran to help them with the perceptions they have in their scripture. It helps improve their own perceptions. Because we've been given misperceptions in religion. We've been given misperceptions in religion from scripture. Yes. And it has influenced the thinking of the Muslim, and the Muslims have many misperceptions of their own religion. They have many misperceptions of the Quranic ideas from reading it. And because of the influences that have been made before they go into the Quran. They have these misconceptions. Yes. Misconceptions in religion. And the next thing you know, you're fighting each other because of your misperceptions. Reading the same scripture. Ittaqu. Rabba. Now, Rabba is a noun and it ends in fatha. It ends in fatha. It looks like it could be a verb, but normally you don't see a verb follow another verb unless it starts another phrase. I'm marking out the phrases here for you. Then we'll go back and I'll show you how to identify the phrases. So I'm marking out the phrases. This is a phrase here. All of these words are going to affect each other grammatically. Now, so let's take it to be a noun. It ends in a fatha. Go back if there's a verb. See if there's a verb. If it ends in fatha, it's related to a verb, or the verb is going to be understood, unless there's a particle. There's no particle came before it to make it a fatha. So what came before it, see, you read, you go back. What came before it is a verb. So it'll be the object of the verb, one of the objects. A direct object, object of time, place, condition, so forth and so on. It's on the sheet. Go through your rules on the sheet. It's on the sheet. You don't have to go wading through other books and things. It's on the sheet. The rule is on the sheet. These sheets are very valuable. It's a method that Mali uses to teach Quranic Arabic. I don't follow the method, or we don't follow the method that others have. This method is a method that we use. And when I put it together, I'm not following somebody else's method. It took time to do it. With the way we use this monitor, this webinar, it works. So now it's one of the objects. So find the meaning of this word, you'll know which one it is. So now you can say they were careful towards their Lord, your Lord. They were careful towards your Lord. That's how it have to read, they, because you said this is they masculine plural past. Or let's say be careful. Be careful towards your Lord. Be careful of your Lord. Be careful, your Lord. Now it's not. So which one is it? That's how you would read it. Which one makes sense? Whichever one you pick that makes sense, say they both make sense. Whichever one you pick now, the logic has to follow that. Whatever logic, understanding, or meaning you attach to it, it has to be consistent all the way through. I'll put it like that. Because you're seeing the Arabic. You're reading for yourself now. Today you might say it's past tense. Oh, mankind. Does that make sense? They were careful of their Lord. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense for what you already said in this phrase. This phrase, you want man's attention. You're getting man's attention and say, they who? Oh, mankind, you be careful of your Lord. Now it makes sense. This phrase makes sense with this phrase. But if you switch it, it's a little clumsy. That's how you read. Now you're reading for yourself. Take your time. Take your time, one verse. If you read one verse a day, one verse, part of a verse, and reflect on that verse for the rest of the day. You got a moment? Think about that verse. Read it, think about it. You got a moment? Think about it. Yes. That was my routine for years. I read a whole section of the Arabic, read the whole section. Then out of that section, I pick a verse that I'm going to contemplate on throughout the day. Lunchtime, I take my Quran out. I have a Quran in my pocket, a pocket-sized Quran. Take it out, look at the verse, look at the Arabic, look at the verse, put it back, think about it. I have another moment, take it out of my pocket, look at the verse, think about it. Write it down on a piece of paper, pull it out, take a look at it, put it back. All day, one verse all day. I take this verse and look at it all day. Go make sure I know all the meanings of the words. I look at the grammar. During the day, I look at it, look at the words, look at it all day. Not memorizing, reflecting on it and getting the concept from it. Not memorizing. I was not a big memorizer. But I remember concepts and ideas. Application. Now that's how I would do it. Every day. Every day, every day. Then, in a conversation, I try to inject it somehow in the conversation, the idea I got from it. It made me kind of strange. But that's okay. I was practicing until I got good at it. Yes, that I can express the Quran in my everyday conversation without quoting Quran. I don't quote Quran. I don't quote W.D. Muhammad. I don't quote Ibn Arabi. I don't quote them. I don't quote the sources. I get the concept and idea from the sources, and I put it in my knowledge body. And then I express it in everyday conversation. Yes. I've studied the Imam so much, I can give you, I'm giving you a lot I've gotten from the Imam as I'm talking right now. But I don't say he said it. And I don't say the Imam said it to get you to accept it from me. I put it in that it make good logical sense to anyone that's listening. Yes. So, this is how I'm going to do this week. Given as much as I can of what I have. Now, so we're going to say command. This would be the object of the verb. It's going to tell you who you are to reverence, who you are to regard, who you are to be careful of, who you'll be to righteous towards. Whatever word you pick is towards your Lord. Your Lord. Now, the next word he says, Eladi. Eladi. Eladi is words like Eladi and Eladina you will see often. They're to be treated like nouns. So it has to follow a grammatical position of a noun. So Abu Fair, let him help you. He's going to say it's an adjective. Not. It's an adjective describing your Lord. This Aleph Lam. See, Lord is an indefinite because anytime a noun is attached to a pronoun, that noun is in the case of a definite. It's a definite. So you have the Aleph Lam. When you have an adjective following a noun describing it, if the noun is definite, the adjective has to be definite. Meaning that if it has Aleph Lam, if it's definite with Aleph Lam, or this is definite in the possessive, this has to be definite. If it's indefinite, the adjective has to be indefinite. If it's masculine, the adjective has to be masculine. If it's feminine, the adjective has to be feminine. It follows. This is a pattern of speech that has been found in the Quran. So it follows. It's a mirror image. The adjective is a mirror image of the noun in terms of gender, in terms of definite or indefinite, in terms of plural, singular, plural. It follows it. It follows it. So LAD is, you could say it's an adjective, or you could say it's a substitute. Rabbakum LAD. Now, to make it easy for you, because grammar is not the all in all, but you need it. You need it as the basis. If you say the noun first, and then the word that follows, and it makes sense, call it the substitute. If you say the noun that follows first, and then the first noun second, it makes sense, call it the adjective. That's how close a substitute and an adjective is for the beginning student. I'm trying to get you to learn basic grammar first before you get into Shalkani with all, it could be this, it could be that, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. Before you get to that level, get the basics first. Then you'll know what Shalkani is talking about. But right now, I'm giving you a good system to read the Quran basically, grammatically, with basic grammar rules. If you can get the 5 sheets and read with the 5 sheets, don't worry about what you can't read with the 5 sheets. You'll get it. I'm giving enough. I'm not giving you first base in grammar. I'm putting you on third base. Now you can get home. I'm giving you enough to be on third base, and you can get home. I'm not giving you first base. Now you got to make your way home. I'm giving you third base. You can make your way home after that. You're on your own. Just don't try to steal home. You get out. You'll make it home. Don't worry. Now, let someone help you to get home. Get it all yourself. You get on third. Let somebody help you to get home. That means go to a source. See what they say before you just start running home. See what they say first. Okay, I hope you're with me. So now, let's try it. Let's read Rabbekum first. Let's read LAD second. So, LAD is who? That's the word. This one, Rab is Lord. That's Rab. Kum is your. We added words like this to make it make sense. And this careful of your duty, all of that is itaku. All of that is itaku. Be careful of your duty to your Lord. That's how you read it. Because this is going to be another phrase. That's all of this phrase up to here. All of these words in the phrase. So just look at this. Kind of look at it. See words you know that you know. If you have to use a dictionary, you look the word up. Look up the word that's close to that. If you see careful in it, then you know you look up the right word, or something meaning careful. You know you looked up the right word. You look this word up. If you see Lord, use Lord. Don't pick a word way out somewhere. Try to find something close to what he said to keep your own bearings. If you look up the dictionary, you want to be deep and flip the word. I don't like that word he used, and flip it. You'll get lost. See what it says first, then go back to be comfortable with it and put the words in. Sometimes you look up the wrong word with the dictionary, and you'll throw something in that just doesn't sound right. So follow it that way. Look it up, then see if you're close to it. If you're learning how to use the dictionary, look up a word, and then see if you can find the word that he used. That way you know you're looking up the right word. So you can use translation to help you, but eventually you're going to wean yourself off of translation if you do this often enough. Now, let's test it. Be careful to your Lord who, or be careful to who your Lord. Which one makes sense? Your Lord who, or who your Lord? Be regardful towards who? Your Lord. Be regardful towards your Lord who? And then something else comes after the who. Your Lord who? If that sounds better, your Lord who? Then say this is a substitute for your Lord. If it sounds better, say who your Lord, then make this the adjective of your Lord. In English, you say the adjective first, then you say the noun. In English, you say the noun first, then you say the substitute. Some call it apposition, a word in apposition, or substitute. Those are two of the followers. Adjective, substitute. The third one is sequence. If there's a where, a fa, thumma, ow, am, they come between them, then you know it's sequence. Those are the three followers. The other two followers, emphasis and clarity, you're not going to see that much. You can say emphasis. There's a way you can say clarity. There's a way, instead of saying substitute and clarity are very similar. They're all followers in some way. And intensity, you're just saying the same word twice to intensify. So, but three of them you want to really learn. Adjective, the difference between adjective, substitute, and sequence. Sequence is easy because something comes between them. A where, you'll see a where often, you'll see a fa often. You'll see thuma. Those three you'll see a lot. That brings about sequence. I'm speaking from the sheets. Not a book, from the sheets. I'm showing you the sheets. Once you learn it, you can take those sheets, laminate them. When you're reading, have the sheets until they're in your head. I'm reading this right now, reflecting on the sheets. Not reflecting on the book I read. Not reflecting on the source I read. I'm reflecting on the sheets grammatically. That's how I use them. I'm showing you how to use them. So we say, be careful. Be regardful. See, I'm going to the Imam. Be regardful. I got that from the Imam. Be regardful. Be conscious. I got that from the one that says, taqwa means God conscious. Okay, I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying, okay, if taqwa, this is the word for taqwa. Same word for taqwa, in case you don't know. If you say taqwa is God conscious, then I'm saying be conscious. Be conscious of your Lord. That's all. Just the beginning. Before I get into school of thought and all of that, read it grammatically first. Easy. Be conscious of your Lord. Now, I can't say be God conscious of your Lord because your Lord is God. But be conscious of your Lord. If you're conscious of your Lord, then they call it God conscious. I guess. Okay, who? Let's go to the next phrase. Khalaqakum. Who? After Alladhi, the next phrase is going to explain who Alladhi is. So we call Alladhi a relative noun. Alladhi is Rabbakum. It's going to tell you who Rabbakum is. Who? Your Lord, who? Now tell us who is the Alladhi. Alladhi is Khalaqakum min nafsin wahida. That's who Alladhi is. Where? And Alladhi is Khalaqa minha zawjaha. And Alladhi is Batha minhu rijalan kathiran wa nisa'an. Then we come back to Wattaku again. Come right back to Wattaku. See how I'm reading it? So, Wattaku is what? Ittaku, that's the crux of it. It's all about Ittaku. We could say it's all about taqwa. Now, let's go through the grammar. Khalaqa, he created, it's a verb. It's a noun, verb, or particle. It's a verb. It measures with fa'ala, he. Past tense. Not the present tense, there's no anata. Anata. Ya, na, ta. Ya, na, ta. We say na. Oh, I have it wrong. It could be ya, na, ta. Either way. Na, ya, ta. Anata. Starts at the beginning of the present tense. A ya, or na, or ta. Starts at the beginning. This has no ya, na, ta at the beginning, so it's not a sukoon. The sukoon is the sign of the command. So let's go with past tense. We go to the chart. Let's see if it measures with the past tense. It does. There's fa'ala, there's khalaqa. He did something in the past tense. What did he do? And whatever he did it to you, because here's a pronoun attached to the verb. It's going to be one of the objects of the verb. This tells us who. Kum is who. He did something to you. What did he do to you? Let's say created. He created you. He created you. Men, form 1, and it's form 1, just a statement. Men is a preposition because you learn your 5 prepositions. Those are 5 particles that you learn by heart. Men from Nepson. This is going to be the object of the preposition. Nepson is the object of the preposition. He created you then from a soul. This is indefinite. A soul. Not the soul. A soul. From a soul. Where he that ten. And now, soul is a noun or verb. It's a noun. It's a noun because how do we know? It ends in tenween. That's one of the signs of the noun. It ends in a tenween. Verbs do not end in tenween. Particles do not end in tenween. Now, if we want to look at it further, what form is it? Is it internal, active, or passive? It's internal. It's not a mu word. It's not a fa'il pattern. It's not maf'ulun pattern that takes care of the active and passive column. Not only column left is internal. When I go down the internal column, it can only be form 1 because it doesn't measure on the sheet. If a noun doesn't measure on the sheet, it's form 1 internal noun. And now internal noun may have some meanings like I've showed you during the weeks, but put it in that category. Form 1 internal noun. A soul. From a soul. Where he that ten. Where he that ten. Where he that ten. I'm going to, now for the time, I'm going to do the grammar. Where he that ten. Where he that ten ends in tenween Kessler. Now, let's go through the rules. If it's in tenween Kessler, it's genitive. And there are 3 rules, 2 main rules of the genitive. There's a third one, but we don't see that much. The particle of swearing, the noun of swearing, but we don't see it that much. Look to see, go back, what comes before it. Now, the first rule, object of the preposition. Did a preposition come before it? It has to come right before it. This is the object of the preposition that came right before it. Nothing comes between a preposition and a noun. No, there's no preposition. So it's not the object of the preposition. Now let's look to see if a noun comes before it. Yes. Now, the first term possessive, which is the next rule, possessive case. The first term possessive cannot have tenween, and it cannot have an alif lam. This has a tenween, so this cannot be the second term possessive. Therefore, it's not the object of the preposition, it's not second term possessive, then it must be a follower. We go down to the followers. There is no where, fa, or thume that came between. This wahida is part of the word. Now that you're going to have to get used to. When is this where part of the word? When is this where a conjunction? Here it's a conjunction. Here is part of the word. So wahida is the word. You'll learn that as you go. Now, let's go by the rule. Since it's a follower, there's no where, fa, thume, so it's going to be an adjective or a substitute. We read this word first, this word second. We read this word first and this word second. Which one would make sense? Let's find the meaning. This one here, it says, I'm going to use his translation soul. This one is for soul, and this one is for single. It means one. Some of the words you may know. Nafs is soul, and wahida is single. Now, so once you know the meaning of the words, read it for yourself. Don't worry about how he translated it. Read it for yourself. Learn to read for yourself. Practice for yourself. So he created you from a soul one If it sounds right, then this would be substitute. He created you from one soul. Whichever one you choose the one that makes sense, and then follow the logic. He created you from one soul. That sounds better than soul one. Don't flip it just to be flipping it, and then you're going to confuse somebody. And once you know how we do it. If I can say something that'll confuse you, and it sounds good, but you don't know what in the world I said, then you're going to say, oh, he's deep and heavy. No, we're not using street psychology. We're teaching, not street psychology. Mumble something that only me and you understand. See, the slave master, we'll flip it on the slave master. He don't know what we saying. And we communicate, telling each other, we're getting ready to run away tonight, and I'm going to braid your hair and put the map in your head. We got to do all this to get around the slave master. Okay, we'll have to do that today. Geniuses on the plantation, but we're not on that plantation no more. We're doing it straight. We're being straight. So it's one soul. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So he created you from one soul. Now, before we go, this had the Mabuta on it. It's following. It's an adjective. Remember the adjective, if this is masculine, this has to be masculine. That has to be masculine. This is feminine, the follower has to be feminine when it's an adjective. So this is feminine. Wahid is masculine. Wahida is feminine. So it's described in this one. Now, let me say this. If you look this up in a Hand's Word Dictionary, look this word up now. It's not going to tell you if it's masculine or feminine. It won't tell you. Some sources may tell you, but it won't tell you. And this word here is feminine. So how do I know this word is feminine? I know this word is feminine because of the word it's used with. That's how I know this is feminine. Because this word is feminine. It's the adjective. That's what it's used with. Min nafsin wahida. That's how I know. That's how you're going to know if a noun is masculine or feminine. You're going to know by the words that it's used with. The verbs, you can tell which is masculine and feminine because, khalaqa is he did. Khalaqat is she did. So here, Rab we know is masculine. Why? Because it says khalaqa, he created. It says Eladi is masculine, describing the Rab. So we know Rab is masculine. Rab is not feminine. Rab is masculine. Naf is feminine because we use Wahida with it. It's feminine. Now, let me caution you right away. Let me caution you. And if you listen to this caution, then you will see how inspiring the Quran is when we get to meaning and understanding. Don't get hung up. Don't get hung up that every time you see something feminine, it's a woman or it's the female. And every time you see something masculine, it's the male. You attach it to the male. If you do that, you're going to mess yourself up. Next thing you know, you're going to be trying to, you're going to have a discussion. Is God a male or a female? And so I'm going to use the feminine. If not, I'm going to take the Quran and flip it. I've seen people do this. I'm going to flip it and say, Rabbah. I'm going to use Ajami. We talked about that yesterday. We had a good session yesterday. I'm going to go to the Ajami language. and insert it into the Quran and say Rabbah. And say Rabbah. Instead of Rab, I'm going to say Rabbah. Instead of Huwa, I'm going to say Hiya. Kul Huwa Allahu, I'm going to say Kul Hiya Allahu. Yeah, you can't do that. Well, Allah is not a male or female, so we can't say he. We got to say it. You know, you find yourself doing that. Getting in these gender wars. And you want to change it. You want to change it. So, language has a life of its own. Language is a living organism. You could say with a life of its own. And in its life, it has a masculine, it has a feminine. Language does. Yes. Now, so don't nafs. Now, I say some more. Nafs in the Quran. We're talking Quran in the Quranic worldview, not modern standard Arabic, not street Arabic. From the Quranic worldview. So that's very important. Don't go into another language environment trying to insert it into the Quranic language environment, you know, and make it part of the Quranic language environment to get the meaning of the Quran. Don't read it like that. Next thing you know, you'll be picking up things that Shaitan has suggested to you, and you bring it in the Quran. So we say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan before we read it. We say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan after we read it. You don't want to read shaitan into it, and you want to be obligated to stay on the straight path. See how I'm connecting the talks now? Yes. Once you're on the straight path, you're obligated. And you pray to stay on the straight path. Yes. There are verses for that logic, but I can't go to it right now. Okay, now. So, nafs in the Quranic worldview is conceptually addressing the male, and conceptually it addresses the female. It's feminine in gender, yes, in grammar. It's feminine in grammar, grammatically, but conceptually it's male or female. I hope you understand. Let's go on. We'll come back to it. Soul can be a male soul. It can be male. A soul can be female. Now, if you go now, that's all this says. That's the Quran. Now we can go and say, let's make it Adam. We created you from one soul. Someone say, that's Adam. We made it male. Just for example. You can come back and read and say, no, not this time. Let's make it Mary. I'm going to show you the logic. Everybody says Adam. That's okay, everybody says Adam. I'm not saying it's not Adam. Allah didn't say it's Adam. Allah just said one soul. I'm reflecting. I'm thinking and reflecting. I'm not telling you what to say, whatever. That's what it said. We can't, all of us have to agree. It says one soul. After that, what it means, we may disagree. Now, if we want to be a community, a unit, a group, we want to go as a group, then let's all have a sure and let's agree that we're going to use this. That's when sure comes in. So once you learn how to read Quran, and now everybody has a different thought. Like yesterday, we did the Quran, Bill Quran. Everyone wrote from it. Everybody wrote something different. Now, which writing are we all going to go with? So we'll go with something in unity that will hold us in a custom. We want to make a custom of this in our behavior so it help us remember. Then that's when we have a sure. Let's have the sure. Everybody put what you have on the table. And then let's take the best thereof. Let's take the best from it. The best will come out. That's how you have sure. Don't bring your feelings and put it on the table. Just bring it and put it on the table. Everybody that studied this verse, bring it and put it on the table. And let's talk. What you have, put it on the table. As you put it on the table, say, I like that. I like how he did that. I like how he said that. That's the discussion. I like this. If you come in at my way or the highway, that's not a sure. So you put it on the table, you look at it, and you come away and say, we've decided that, and just in the conversation you will see where the direction will go. That's how you have a sure. But if you're going to exclude people from the sure to have the knowledge of it, you don't have a sure. Well, we're not going to invite him because we didn't study it like he did, so we'll leave him out. You don't have a sure. That's not a sure. And that's all I'm going to say. Say too much, you might get too personal, you might get mad at me. But that's the sure. We have sure in the class. We always have a sure in the class. Somebody say something, I say, that sounds good. If you keep listening to me, you'll hear some of your homework in my talk that I took from you. I borrowed it. I'm going to give it back. If I get somebody for it, I'll forgive you half. Little humor. Let's go now. Let's go. Well, khalaqa, we did khalaqa. Khalaqa, and he created. He created you, and he created men, preposition, had is the object of the preposition. This is a pronoun attached to a particle. It's attached to the particle men. Therefore, it's the object of the preposition men. Each pronoun follows, it's either nominative, accusative, or genitive. It follows the rules of grammar. It's just a replacement of a noun. So you treat it like a noun. It's a pronoun. We call them pronouns. It takes the place of a noun. So he created from it. Now notice it didn't say men who. It says men had. Go back. Now, this causes thought, provokes thought. You go back. Pronoun, you go back and find who is this had. He created from had. Go back and find, now you got to find something feminine because this is her. Men had from her. Not from him, from her. Go back, who is this her? You go back and you're looking for a noun. When you go one back, and there's a noun there that was feminine. That's how we know this noun is feminine, because this pronoun goes back to the noun nuts. We know this is feminine because it says wahida. So he created from her. And from nafs. We're just talking literally grammar. Not the meaning. We're not getting into the meaning. We're just looking at the grammar. Read it grammatically correct first. Don't switch it. Don't switch it. Don't get into meaning, and now you can't read it right. Well, it can't be heard. You're getting into philosophy. Don't read it philosophically. Read it grammatically. From the grammar, then you go to the philosophy. Read it, and there are many suggestions that will come to your mind when you begin to look at the next reading. This is just the first reading. Read it grammatically the way it is first. Don't change it because you don't like it. It's not going to say what you want it to say. Don't read it like that. Now, for the followers of Imam W.D. Muhammad, don't throw in what he said before you read it grammatically. Because what you want to do, I'm talking to students now, not followers, students. Well, everybody's a student. No, everybody's not a student. Real students that's on a quest. The student wants to learn, how did he get to that point? How did he get there? We did something yesterday. We were looking at something. I said, well, I would read it like this grammatically. I read it grammatically. The man didn't translate it grammatically because he's given the meaning. I should have pointed out yesterday. I didn't. He's giving you the meaning, not the grammatical translation. He's giving you the meaning. How did he get to the meaning? Start from the ground and see how he got there. Just don't go there and say that's it and there's nothing else. No. How did he get there? هذا صراط علي مستقيم. Grammatically, this is a straight way. Alayya. Let's take, he said, obligates me. Alayya, upon me, on me. Literally straight. This is a straight way on me. When I say on me, now let's get to the meaning of that. This is a straight way that obligates, this is a way that obligates me to keep it straight. That's not the grammatical translation. That's a translation with the meaning inside of the translation. Because it's not translated grammatically straight, it's giving you the meaning with it. So now he's giving you the meaning, he's translating with the meaning in it that'll make sense, that will carry the logic with it. How did he get there? Start from the bottom and then see how he got there. And where is the discussion at? That's what we showed yesterday. So I'm helping you. Just don't go there. How did he get there? This is what it says exactly. This is what he says. How did he get there? Follow the logic. Follow it. Then, if you keep doing that enough, you'll begin to see the methodology of his thinking. There is a methodology to his thinking. There's a method to it. As students, we're going to find the method. And we're going to document the method. We're going to codify the method. Then we're going to stamp it, the Muslim American logic, based upon W.D. Muhammad. School of thought. School of logic. I'm not going to use that word. I'm going to say school of logic. The W.D. Muhammad School of Logic. Because, and we're going to show you the method of his thinking and document it, codify it. That once you learn the method of this thinking, you can do it too. Yes. And we have a timeline. It may take us 100 years. After 100 years, we're ready to apply it. Give me 100 years. Okay. He said, give me 100 years. we're gonna need 100 years of him to maybe get it. Well, as of yesterday, we're already on 40 because we're studying something he said 40 years ago, trying to get it. So it might take us another 40 to get the whole thing. Okay. We talk now, but we're looking way down the road. And because of the principle of Khalifa, we'll do all we can while we're living right now, all that I can with my health and everything, and someone has to come behind me and not start all over. You start all over, you're going to take another 40 years to get here. Don't start over, pick up where I leave off, improve upon it, and keep moving. It might take us 100 years. Yes. And then, next thing you know, based upon all of that 100 years, another reformer has come. It's time to go to another level. Yes. So we're students now. We're students. I said this about 17 years ago. A lot of people didn't like it. You don't come in quoting W.D. Muhammad. We're going to get there. Now we're there. They didn't like it. They didn't understand. They didn't like it. Well, that's okay. And you're in the same place you were 17 years ago. Still waiting. Halakha minhaj. Now, minhaj. We see that. And I'm going over a verse that a lot of you all are familiar with to make it easier for what I'm doing with grammar. Zawjahad. That's the phrase. Halakha minhaj zawjahad. So he created from it, from her, if you want to say her, zawjahad, her mate. Her mate. Zawja is mate. It ends in a fatah. It's a noun. Go back, find a verb. The verb is halakha. Right? It tells us who or what he created. He created the mate of her. It's the object of the verb halakha. Looking at the sheets. Let me speed it up now. So it's her mate. Now you can take this and start reflecting upon the nafs. We're talking about the nafs. We're not talking about Adam. We're not talking about Mary. We're talking about the nafs. The nafs. The nafs. And the nafs is her. And from her, her mate. The mate of the nafs. Now, I'm just showing you things to reflect on. This is not hardline interpretation and whatever. I'm just showing you something. I'm just showing you. Remember that. All that I'm saying today, I'm showing you. I'm no one to be followed. Follow me in grammar. After that, don't follow me. Get the idea of what I'm doing. I want to make that plain. Now, nafs. So let's go back to we said this is the crux. Now we're talking about inspiration now. This is the crux. If this is the crux, we said what the crux of the whole thing is occurring from within. This action is occurring from within. We said that. Right? So this is going on from let's look at the community of self. The nafs is part of the self. It's in, not outwardly. The nafs is not something outwardly. The nafs is something inwardly. It's part of that community inwardly. So he created you from something inwardly. And you are inwardly. Everything is going on in this community of self. Perhaps he created you from that, activity that's going on from within. So nest is something feminine, and her mate. Go inside. Don't go outside. Go inside. It's not talking about you and your wife outside. It's talking about something inside. Inside the nest is inside that has a mate. And from it, and he created from it. The mate is from it. The mate is from the nest. It's from it. Meaning it's from it, meaning that it's of the same source. It's of the same kind. They're related. The nest is related to its mate. They're related. Now, if you think about Imam Dabdi Muhammad, if you think about Ibn Arabi, they go inside and talk. Then they come outside. So it's inside. Zawjah. And then from the two of them, no, he says, well, Batha. Now, that's that phrase. Next phrase, Batha. Batha is a verb. Batha, past tense, he, form 1. I'm giving it fast. Minha, from the two of them. He spread. Now, this is a preposition, men, and this is humad. This is them too. From them, but it's two of them. Look on your pronouns. This is they, or them dual, two. From them two. Let me go back. Nafs is feminine grammatically, but conceptually it can be male or female. Zawj is masculine grammatically. The masculine is mated with the feminine. It's masculine grammatically. It's her mate, masculine grammatically, but it applies to the male or the female. You can have a male here and a female here. You can have a female here and a male here. According to the Quranic worldview, modern standard Arabic may switch it. They may say, this is nafs and this is zawjah. They may switch it. They may say nafsa and zawj. They may switch it to bring greater clarity for the conversation. In the Quran, you can't switch it. You can't bring in ajami and put it in the Quran. And take your pen and put a talmabut on here or something like that. You can't do that. So zawja. Well, that he spread minha from the two of them. Rijalan. Tanween fata, go back, find the verb. The verb is bata. We block off the prepositional phrase right now, and it should make sense if we just read them without the prepositional phrase. He spread rijalan. Rijalan is a noun because it ends in tanween fata. It's an internal noun, form 1. It doesn't match anything else on the sheet. And it's the object of the verb basa. Who or what, why, where, when, how many. It tells us who. He created men. He spread men. Tells us who or what he spread. Men. Kathiran is many. Is in tanween fata. A noun is following another noun. If a noun is following another noun, it's going to be, it becomes a follower. Here it's a follower. This is the last one, but Sunday. If there's more you need to ask questions for on Sunday, ask on Sunday. Now, if there's no wad, fat, or thumma between them, so it has to be an adjective or a substitute. We read this one first, and then this one. Let's see if it makes sense. Men, many, or many men. If we say many men, it's the adjective. If we say men, many, it's a substitute. Which one makes sense? I think many men makes sense. He spread many men. Then we have a why. And another noun, he said, and. Because we have this why and he said, and no other words, then it's a follower. But this is easy because it's a follower of sequence. He spread many men and women. This is a sequence of the followers. Because you have the why, a particle of sequence. Or atfun. Now, when you have the why, this is grammar. We're doing grammar first. Whatever you choose, then whatever you choose of the grammar, then your logic follows that. That's what I'm gonna show, inshallah. If I don't show it today, I show Sunday. This why here in the sequence. Rijalan, you say many men and women. The men could come first, then the women, in the sequence of why. Or the women could come first, and then the men, in the sequence of why. Or the men and the women can come at the same time, in the sequence of why. Why doesn't tell you. Grammatically, it doesn't tell you. You may see it in meaning, but reading it grammatically, it doesn't tell you. We just know many men and women. We're not saying the men came first because we said it first. We're not saying the men come second. We're not saying the same. Well, it doesn't tell us the sequence. And one could have followed the other, and there's no time. Men could have came first, then later on in time, the women came. The women could have came first, later on in time, the men came. They could have came at the same time. Well, it doesn't tell us. Now, if you jump to conclusions, Adam was first, so the man was first. No, that's from something else. What is this saying? What is this saying? Read what it's saying first. What is this? No, it's not telling us that. You can't take this and say that. Oh, based upon another word environment, you could say it. But not here, not yet. If it's fa as a conjunction, fa, the men came first, then right after that. Relatively speaking, little time in between, the women came. The men came, boom, women came right after. That's Rijalan fa nisatin. If I say Rijalan thumman nisatin, the men came first, then the women came with time in between. Then the women came with time in between. That's what we say then. But using why, we're not sure who came first. It's going to tell us who came first or if they came at the same time. Fa, the sequence is men first, then the women right after. Thumad, the men first, then later time the women came. Here it doesn't tell us. It doesn't tell us who came first. It doesn't tell us the sequence, or they come at the same time. It doesn't tell us. Okay. Leave it at that. Now, but they came from the two of them. Now, whatever went on inside with the soul and her mate, it brought about many men and women. It manifested from that. Now, here we go again. Ittaku. We say it again. All of this is about, all of what we're talking about is having reverence or regardfulness for your Lord. It's telling us who your Lord is. It's telling us who He is. He is the one who created you from one soul and created from it its mate and spread from the two of them, men and women. That's who your Lord is. That's what it's telling us. Eladi. All of that we just did was Eladi. That's who your Lord is. And what about it? Be regardful. Then it comes again. What's that cool? We said it again. When Allah says something twice, and you'll see this in the Balaga. We get this from the Balaga class. When you're using something twice, it's for emphasis. That's why we say twice for emphasis. If in the grammar you have mutlaq, we say it's emphasis because the verb and the noun will have the same meaning or they'll come from the same root, as though you're saying it twice. In the followers, you're going to have the emphasis, tawkid or ta'kid, because it's said twice. In the forming of words, form 2 is emphasis because you're going to say the middle letter twice. It's in the language. You're saying it twice. That's why this is what it's all about. It's about reverence. That's what this verse is about. Everything comes back to reverence. Reverence. Everything comes back to taqwa. If I put it in the noun, it's taqwa. Allah had. Now it mentions Allah. First time it doesn't say Allah. Now it says Allah. And then perhaps there's a line of logic for that. Then again, itaku is going at wa itaku. This wa itaku is following this one. So we know it's going to be command. And command, be careful of Allah now. Alladhi, who? Allah is the object of the verb ittaku. Form 8, command, Allah. Now who? Who is Allah? Tasa'aluna bihi wa arham. Tasa'aluna is who? Then it says you, another phrase. You. Now you see, I see sa'ala. I'm not going to go to the translation. Let's do the eye test. Let me show you the eye test. Tasa'aluna. All I see is tasa'aluna bihi. And this be evidently goes with the verb tasa'aluna. And does he go back to who? Most likely it's going to go back to alladhi. Who goes back to Allah. So now, sa'ala, I look at this, according to my vocabulary, it means to ask a question. It's a verb. Now, what form is it? Shadda, nothing shadda alif. Nothing shadda alif. Noon, ta, sin, ta. Nothing 1. Shadda 2. Alif 3. Nothing 4. Shadda 5. Alif 6. Noon 7. Ta 8. 9 is rare. 10, sin, ta. I see the alif. That tells me, and I see 3 other letters, sa, ad, and la. Those are the roots. I have an alif there. It's going to be either 3 or 6. Let's see. We go. If there's a ta with it, it's 6. And if it's not a ta, it's 3. So now here's the ta. Now, is it past, present, or command? Well, here's a ta and a una on the end. This una on the end can be past. Because you don't put una on the end of a past tense. You put una on the end of a present tense. So it has to be present tense. Now, is it 3 or is it 6? If it's 3, it has to be tu sa'iluna. It doesn't change. Look at the chart. 3 would be Tusa Iluna, and 6 would be all fetas. But if it's going to be, what's the conjugation? Now, because it's una with a ta, it has to be you masculine plural. If it's with the ya, it would have to be they masculine plural. That's the only time you have una on the verbs. It's either yef aluna or tef aluna. Here we have a ta. It's going to be you, but that's a ta missing. One of these tabs has to be for you, and there has to be a tab for Form 6. Form 6, you add the aleph and the tab, right? But you also need a tab for you, masculine plural, that has been dropped. Teta sa aluna. It should be teta sa aluna. It's cut short to tesa aluna. Perhaps there's a logic for that. I'm showing you the grammar first. There's a logic for that. Teta sa aluna, but it's tesa aluna. Now, if we go to someone like Shawkani, he may say so-and-so read this Tusa Iluna. Because remember, these marks were not there at first. It could be Tusa Iluna. So-and-so reads it Tusa Iluna. But he says, according to Jumhur, the populace read it Tatasa Iluna. And he could have said Tatasa Iluna because the Quran is given orally first. So he said Tatasa Iluna. And when they wrote it down, they wrote it like this, with the letters like this, without the marks, and they said it to him, and he approved it to the prophet. They would say they would read it to him, and then he would read it again. He would read it during the month of Ramadan. He would read it, and they would hear the whole Quran being read from him during Ramadan. They were students, and they're writing as he's revealing it. They're writing. Then they come back, and they had to put the marks on it. But they didn't change, they could not change the letters. When they put their vowel marks on, they did not change the letters. They didn't change them. They couldn't do that. Okay, enough of that. Now, 6 tells us it's reciprocal. It's reciprocal, and it's something that's going on between two entities, and we don't know who initiates the act. We don't know. Who is it going between? If we stay in the context of the verse, it could be Humah. It could be Rijalin and Nisa'in. That they're asking each other. Bihi, they're asking each other in terms of Allah. They're asking each other. That's all it's given us. Who's asking each other? Now they add words to help the meaning. This is that you help each other, that you question each other. It could be you the readers, that you ask each other. There's many men and women. It could be between all the men and women. We're following what came before. You're asking each other. Right? Now, I'm leaving it at that. What araham? El araham. You got a wag here now. There's a wag. You got a noun here. Arhame. Now, because of the word here, it's sequence. You don't know a sequence, right? Now you have to go back. The sequence can't be here because there's no noun for it to be the sequence. You're saying you ask each other and arhame. Where arhame? So is it the object of the verb, just the verb, you ask, and it says what? If the where wasn't here, then you would say you ask the wombs. You ask the wombs concerning him. But there's a where there. So you can't say you ask and the wombs. There would be a lot missing before you get to that. Or you can't say you ask him. You're asking him and the wombs? Maybe. Or you could say, you go back and you find where is the noun that it could be following that ends in fata. You can go back before this one and go back to this one now. This is the time you could jump back to another phrase and say Allah. So most of the readings won't say you're asking each other concerning him and the wombs. It could be. You could put it in there somewhere. Well, let's go check, see what someone else says. That's when we go check other sources. Learn to read and you could check other sources. Or you could say, reverence Allah and Araham and the wombs. And the wombs. Now, some translations say the wombs that bore you. This word Araham and Rahim. You see the word Rahimah, Araham. Eternal noun, form one, and it's what we call a broken plural. A broken plural. It's a follow-up of, it's in sequence to Allah. So you reverence Allah and the wombs. Where? Once again, it doesn't tell us which one comes first. In logic, you may say, reverence Allah first, then reverence the wombs. You could say that. It makes sense. But the where doesn't tell us that. Now, could be at the same time. There's a lot to this word. Relationships comes from this word. Relationships that come from the same womb. What's the word for mercy? It's the word for womb. Mercy. Mercy comes from this word. Now, if I say the wombs, a lot of our mind goes to women. Reverence the wombs that bore you. We go to the woman. Even though everything is occurring from within, we go to the woman. We're talking men and women, maybe we're outside now. We were inside, now we come out. I've seen translations. Meanings from the Imam, the female relations. The female relations. Because the womb comes from the female. The female has the womb. The male doesn't have the womb. Not literally speaking. Now, one point, then we'll wrap it up. If we're going to start back with nafs, we could say nafs is feminine. And we're talking about the wombs. You get it? Then we would say, well, that's not Adam. It's not Adam. We're talking about the wombs. We started with nafs, and the nafs, her mate. The nafs, her mate, and between two of them, men and women, so reverence Allah and the female relations, the feminine relations, the wombs. Now, Araham, mercy and wombs. Ar-Rahman. Now, I'm going to jump to meaning real quick. and then we'll end it. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Raham. That's all it says. Allama al-Quran, khalaqa al-insan. Ar-Rahman. Allah says, we'll look at some of the tafsirs. I've given you my name. My name is Ar-Rahman. I'm calling you Ar-Rahman. That's how close. That's how close and I'm saying, Ittaqu Allah wal Arham. Yes. If you wanted a picture of mercy, mercy is an abstract. Rahim, mercy is an abstract. If you want a picture of mercy, look at the Arham, look at the womb. That gives you the picture of mercy. Next time you're preaching on mercy, Rahman, Rahim, and you were preaching and preaching and preaching. And now you're looking outwardly for examples. And you don't come up with womb. I doubt you can read. If you don't come up with womb, I doubt you can read. Because how do I know this word is not womb? How do I know it's not mercy? How do I know it's not have regard for Allah and the mercies? And all the mercies. So it makes sense? Yes. So nafs. If I take the nafs and associate with Arham, am I out of context? Yes. So Ar-Rahman, he created. Who created him? Who created man? Ar-Rahman. Coming from the wombs. Ar-Rahman. Iqra. Iqra. The same word for misses. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Khalaqa al-insan min alaq. Alaq. Congealed blood that has congealed in the womb of a pregnant woman. Khalaqa insan min alaq. He created man from alaq, from the womb of a pregnant woman. That's it. I'll stop here, and tomorrow we go to the next source. Thank you for your time. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa Ramadan Mubarak.